pop news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all
beyond the headlines, beyond the scripts. This is Anchor's Chat, a newsroom conversation where journalists exchange views, debate issues, and unpack the stories behind the news just as they see it. Today, we will be discussing medical negligence. Panel suspends doctors over Adichie's son's death. We're open for sponsorship of this program, advert placement, news events coverage, and commercials. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Apple TV platform, Niger TV, Ifastech TV platform. You can connect with us on our ATN socials by subscribing, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. And on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. We're going a short break, and when we return, I will introduce my guest, and we will dive right onto the report. Stay with us.
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring honest pop news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. On ATN. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on.
Welcome back from that very short break, and thanks for staying with us. Joining me on Anchor's Chat this morning is Mr. Johnson Wale, an in-house journalist. You're welcome, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, I must say that I'm actually very excited I'm doing this with you for the first time. All right, on to the report now. Medical and Dental Practitioners Investigation Panel has suspended the medical director of Iraqi Multi-Specialist Hospital, Dr. Tunde Majekundumi, with two other doctors over findings of medical negligence in the treatment of 21-month-old Nkanu Adichie Sege. The child, son of author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie and her husband Ivara Sege, died on January 7, 2026, following a brief illness. Adichie had alleged negligence after her son was taken to the Lagos hospital for an MRI scan and insertion of a central line. She stated that he was sedated with propofol but was not properly monitored, leading to complications that resulted in cardiac arrest. The panel subsequently investigated the circumstances surrounding the incident. Following its 25th session in Abuja, the panel barred Majekundumi, anesthesiologist Dr. Titus Ogundare, and Dr. Atinuke Awaje from practicing pending determinations by the Medical and Dental Practitioners Disciplinary Tribunal. It also founded a prima facie case of professional misconduct against 10 other doctors, while clearing 8 of wrongdoing. Before I say anything, what do you make of this report, Mr. Johnson?
First of all, I would like to say it's very, very painful for a family or a parents to lose their child. And from what we get, from the facts we gathered, we hear is their only child or your only son. So we know how painful it is. This shows, why, healthcare defaults in Nigeria. We hear so many stories of, doctors or hospital negligence in the health sectors. And I believe, assuming she's not well known, this matter would have been swept under the carpet So I believe also why this matter is really being pushed forward, panel being said, it also shows that because of her, her level in the society, that's why this matter is being dived into like that. Assuming she's not well, I don't think, this matter will raise any dust, because we have some cases whereby so many parents accused, healthcare sectors, doctors about negligence, but at the same time, they deny. So this shows that, Nigeria and the government need to do something when it concerns health sectors. They need to, focus more attention to health sector, the doctors, their function, and, their routine, the way they do things. Because we'll be hearing cases where, hospital, they will bring in a patient, emergency patient, the person will be left there only for the person to die later. When the family, confront the management of the hospital, they deny any involvement to it. So that shows that Nigerian government need to pay clear and more attention to health sector, not just politics. There is time for politicking, but when it comes to health sector, I think they are being neglected for so long. So it's time the government need to checkmate the activities of some doctors. We have some hospitals where we have quack doctors, parading themselves as medical doctors. Some are not well trained, but they assume the position because of either one connection or the other. The country we're in Nigeria here. We're in a country where as long as you have the connection, you can aspire to be who you want to be, even when you're not qualified. So at the same time too, she's a well-known figure in the society. That's why this case is still, being forwarded. That's why they have set panel. Now, what we need to ask ourselves now, assuming she's not a public figure, what happens to the poor man? Who fight for the poor man? We have cases of, negligence from doctors. At the same time, too, the matter will be swept under the carpet. But now is our own turn. We also want to urge the panel to do a thorough investigation. We should not just rely on her own hearsay or what their family is saying. Suspending the doctor is a good way to start. But at the same time, too, it should not just end in suspending the doctors. There should be a thorough investigation to ascertain what really happened. If it's, is negligent from the doctor's side or from their own side, or is a natural cause. So we should not just rely on what they are saying or what the panel is saying. Sometimes panels can be biased. Knowing fully well the person who is involved, because they don't want to be in bad book of this person, just want to say their own face. So they should do a thorough investigation to ascertain what really happened. Nobody should cover any truth. This truth should be brought to the limelight for us to settle this matter once and for all.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, for that perspective. But then, you've made a number of beautiful points that I actually also had in mind. But then, still, talking about the issue of medical negligence in Nigeria, the first time when Chimamanda Adichie came out to raise an uproar about the death of the son, before we got to this point, I think that was about a month ago or 3 weeks ago. And then we actually discussed it in the Society Watch. And then still within that frame of time, when she came out to accuse this very Iraqi medical facility of negligence, we also had related cases of medical negligence that led to the patient's death. One of them was the Ifunanya, the singer's case. Yeah. It was the same period. We got the report that she drove herself to the hospital, but then the hospital reportedly, allegedly, did not have a snake venom. Yes, all right, anti-venom. And then still within that frame of time, we also had another case between a Lagos family and an ambulance company. The family accused the ambulance company of contributing to their sister's death. And then we only saw that the company completely denied. The family gave their reasons. They stated what happened, what transpired. And then they made it clear that they believe that it was as a result of everything that happened that led to the sister's death. But we only saw that the ambulance company denied, and that was how that matter ended. Still within that period, we had another case of a death, a woman's death, after which the husband came out to say the wife had an operation. she survived the operation but died later because the hospital forgot a scissors in the woman's stomach. So this is not the first time. And like you rightly said, Chimamanda Adichie is getting justice now because of who she is, because of her level of influence in the society. She is well known, her reputation and all that. What happens to the common man who doesn't have this level of influence that Chimamanda Adichie has? I know you pointed out this fact, but then it is a very big question. Let's even assume that she was just one of the common Nigerians. The justice she's getting and she's about to get now, would she have gotten it? And then this issue of negligence in our medical sectors, is it ever going to stop? And then the question now is, when we record these issues, who should we even hold responsible? Is it these doctors? Because a lot of persons will tell you that, oh, most times we record this kind of issues because even the medical sectors are lacking professionals. You see a lot of medical students, once they graduate, they are leaving the country. It's Jackpa. Everybody wants to go and practice outside of Nigeria. The medical students and the nurses, particularly. You see them wanting to run away. Go to other countries, you see that the best hands there, most of them are Nigerians. But then when you come to Nigeria, you now see that the ones we have are probably the ones that can't travel. And then we also had an analysis done in these health sectors, and someone said if you want to look at the number of practicing doctors and the number of patients we have in each hospital, you will now see that the number of patients far outweighs the number of doctors. So in most cases, you now have one doctor attending to 50 patients. So why wouldn't they forget the scissors in someone's stomach when you're attending to one and they are coming to court? I mean, what do you think is the cause when we record this negligence? It is good that Chimamanda Adichie is getting justice, and I hope that this really serves as a deterrent to other doctors who do not carry out their jobs professionally. But then, when things like this happen, let's try not to be biased. Who should we hold responsible? Is it just the doctors who sometimes are overloaded with work? Or does the system also have their own portion of blames to take?
Well, let me just come into, you made mention of, a doctor, forgetting scissors in a patient's body.
Yes.
But, and you also made mention of, because the doctor might be, probably because he's attending to 10 or 15 persons. You being a doctor, first of all, your duty as a doctor, when you're performing your duty, is to be very, very careful. Anything you're doing should be very, very precise and accurate. Now, you forgetting the scissors in somebody's body shows that you're not qualified to be a doctor. Now, for instance, you being the security personnel, because you're guiding an estate as one security personnel, does that mean you have to release your cartridges anywhere you like because you feel like you have a lot going through your mind? No. And coming back again now, the blame should solely go to the government. You know why? We have a government, that puts other priorities on politics. Power sector, not just energy sector itself. They feel that is where the money is coming from. They neglect the educational sector, the health sector. Now go to some health center in Nigeria. See how the place is run. It's so enrolled to have no doctors there. The few nurses we had there, some of them are old. They don't know the latest that is happening. They are not following the trend. They are still following the modern way, the old ways of doing things. Now we have governments that does not prioritize the safety of their citizens. They all focus on the next election. We are still in 2026, but they are talking about election for next year. But we'll have cases like this happening. Now let's come back to the issue of the lady that was bitten by a snake. Do you know that? Yes. Now, do you know that? It's also shocking that majority of the Nigerian hospital does not have antivenom in Nigeria. It shows we are the health sector is in a mess. So don't have anti-venom. Now she went to 2 or 3 different hospitals, no anti-venom to ingest her to stop the spread of the venom in her body. That is what we call decay. The health sector is in a state of decay if it's not properly managed. So why do you think we have some profile politicians flying outside the country for treatment? You know why it's happening? Like, because they know that the Nigerian health center is in shambles.
It's whack.
And believe me, they contribute to 90% of what is happening in Nigeria. Now, some of them have private hospitals outside the country. We have a president, his shake-up is outside the country. Governors, ministers, they go outside the country for shake-up. But they claim you have the best hospital in Nigeria. What shows that we have best hospital in Nigeria? Nothing to show. So you're not just having the building well beautified. Do we have personnel that are well trained? We don't. Now we have some accident cases whereby the person will be rushed to the hospital as an emergency case. They will wait for you to write, to fill in papers before they attend to the patient. No. In other countries, it doesn't happen. They will first see the patients before they get the details. But in Nigeria, you have to, you have to fill in details of what happened, who is the person, will you stand for the person? No. We also have some cases of, people transferring to maybe they have maybe a wife want to deliver. Now they will ask you to make deposits before they commence treatment. To tell you that, they value money
more than the life
of Nigerians. People. They don't put Nigeria first. It's not just in a health sector. It's cut across all the sectors in Nigeria. Because we have government that does not treatment all these things. We have Ministry of Health. What is their job? Do you think going to close down quack shops or quack hospitals is the job of the Ministry of Health? Checkmating the activities of doctors, activities of hospitals is their main role to see if Nigerians are really well taken care of when it comes to medical aspects. But they're not doing that. All they focus their attention is, go after, whatever, whistleblower they say, maybe this hospital is quack. They close it down. When you close it down, do you arrest the personnel then? When you close this hospital, the next person will go ahead and open that hospital, and the person will be given license. You give license out to people who are not qualified.
Just anyhow.
Anybody who's I'm a doctor, show a certificate. You don't checkmate, trace the history of that person, the school the person went to, the medical record. Now, if you go to some public talks or government hospitals, some of those doctors, if you go through their profile, they are not qualified. Those positions are just given to them because of who they know, who brought them, who assigned them, who give them portfolio, who they answer to. So you see, we have to blame the government first before we blame the doctors. So if we have a working government that's really working for the good and betterment of each citizen, things like this will not be happening. Do you know any innocent life lost in the US as an American citizen, the person you account for it? If there's any mistake because of you, somebody died in US as a US citizen, US, even if the person is in Nigeria, the Nigerian government will answer to US what happened to that citizen. But to have some cases where by Nigeria, they die every day in the hospital.
And no one cares.
Either there's no oxygen. Sometimes we have some cases
there's no bed.
Yes,
no bed
we have some cases of somebody paid for oxygen. Before you know it, they say the oxygen is finished. How come? So that is the mess we are in this country. Because we only have leaders who focus on what they get. How to feed their boss, how to take care of their family, how to plan for the next election. Now they are boasting that next election will be walkover. But they're not talking about the health sectors, educational sectors. What is happening there? They don't even care. They only care about where the money is coming from, which is the petroleum sectors. They then just go and take money, make money from there. But the major sector that bring in the doctors, sustain the life of Nigerians have been neglected. Because if you check the educational sectors, doctors pass through education. So if the educational sector is in shambles, what kind of doctor do you think education will produce? Do you think they will produce doctors that are well trained, well nurtured, that will take care of the life of Nigeria? They cannot. So those two sectors working hand in hand. If this one is bad, this one will also be bad. So that is where we find ourselves in Nigeria. So we need government that will work for the people and for the betterment of Nigeria. So if you don't make the educational sector right, the hospital will still be in shambles like that. That's where we get ourselves now.
Do you know the next thing that stood out for me in the report? The fact that after the arrest of the director and then 2 other persons, after they carried out some investigations still on the other doctors, nurses, and other staffs of the hospital, they also found out that 10 of them more have been unprofessional.
Okay.
just 8 were cleared to be professional, doing the right thing. So imagine a health facility. Add the director, the 3 people to the 10, and then add the 8. We have about 21 of them. And then out of the 21, 13 were found wanting. Only 8 were blameless. And then the fact that this Iraqi hospital is even supposed to be one of the biggest hospitals in Lagos is shocking. So what then happens in the other smaller hospitals if this big one has recorded this level of rot in their operations, that 10 of the doctors working there were found guilty of unprofessionalism? Only 8 were found blameless in a hospital as big as Iraqi. So what is then happening in the smaller hospitals in our neighborhood and all that? It is concerning. Yes.
Now, let me just comment. Do you know that people see the smaller hospital, local hospital, that the bigger one, the one that is well furnished, well fine, they think they perform more better than the local hospital? No. That's that they also see, big private hospital that are better than government schools. No. Now the question now, let's come in now. Those quack doctors that they saw or they found wanting, who licensed them, who gave them license to practice as doctors? Where did they get their license from? Did they just manufacture the license? Because before you become a practicing doctor, you must have a license. So who licensed them? Who gave them the license to become a doctor? It's not the government. That's to show you that to have a corrupt system of government where with money you can get a license, you can get certificates to practice anything you want to practice. So we also have cases of lawyers going to court to defend their clients, but they're not lawyers. How did they become a lawyer? How did they get a certificate? They bought it forged. So we don't, like I keep saying, we don't have government that checkmate all these things. If we have working government that prioritize the welfare and the well-being of its citizens, before anybody become a practicing doctor, the person must prove his or her worth. Now go to outside country. We made mention of doctors leaving Nigeria to outside country to practice. Now before they were licensed as a doctor, you must do 1 or 2 research. You must go for surgery. If you're a doctor who performs surgery, before you might be cleared to become a surgical doctor, you might have performed series of surgery successfully before they certify you as a surgical doctor, as a surgeon. But in Nigeria now, as long as you finish school, prevent certificates, you get employed because you have somebody there. But do you know we have some qualified doctors in Nigeria that have been denied, that
the opportunities because they know no one.
They don't have anybody. So until we get this right from the government down to the health sector, nothing will be working. But that aside, we also have good hospitals that are doing very, very well professionally. They're well endowed, equipment, everything is well established. But that does not mean that 90% of them is right. So what I'm saying is that we need a government that will be checkmating the activities of doctors, the SSCs of some doctors, nurses, especially nurses. Have you been to a hospital whereby even the nurse itself that was supposed to attend to you is so sick? Now, as somebody if you're so sick and you approach a doctor or a hospital, the kind of statement, the approach you receive from the person in the hospital, believe me, you feel like, what am I coming here to do? They're coming to save your life, but what you're saying will discourage you. Maybe on your way going back to go to another hospital, this might die or maybe lose the person. So we need to prioritize the citizens' welfare first. The life, also know that Nigerian life matters. Okay. Until then, things like this will still happening. And assuming she, Amanda Adichie, like I said before, is not well known. Believe me, this matter will not die off. They'll sweep it under the carpet. But because she's well known, she's well connected to the government, and they know that she can sue. Now government, they want to save their face. Now they are now pushing the blame to the people who they think perform that operation. But what happens to the decay in the health sector? They're not talking about that.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
It's beautiful to do this with you.
Likewise.
Meanwhile, notwithstanding, we are still happy for Chimamanda Adichie for the fact that she is getting justice, and then sincere condolences to her for the loss of her son. Because we do not have all the time to ourselves, this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Anchor's Chat. Open conversation comes up next. Do not go away. Thank you once again for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
We're open for sponsorship of this program, advert placement, news events coverage, and commercials. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Avo TV platform, Niger TV, Ifastech TV platform. You can connect with us on our ATN socials,